Each year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the feast of Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up according to festival custom. After they had completed its days, as they were returning, the boy Jesus remained behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. Thinking that he was in the group, they journeyed for a day and looked for him among their relatives and acquaintances. But not finding him, they returned to Jerusalem to look for him. After 3 days, they found Jesus in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were astounded at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. And his mother said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been looking for you with great anxiety." And Jesus said to them, "Why were you looking for me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house?" But they didn't understand what he said to them. He went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. And his mother kept all these things in her heart. And Jesus advanced in wisdom and age and favor before God and man. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
A story. So they are in the classroom and the teacher says to the children, "You know what? There is no God. There is no God. And I can prove that to you." And little Johnny was there and says, "Teacher, why do you say that there is no God? Can you prove it to me?" "Yes, I can prove it to you." "Have you ever seen God?" And little Johnny says, "No." "Have you ever touched God?" "No." "Have you ever smelled God?" And little Johnny says, "No, I haven't." You see, you haven't seen God, you haven't touched God, you haven't smelled God. God doesn't exist. They lied to you. And then little Johnny, who was very smart, he was going to the religious education class at Our Lady of Fatima, so he was very smart. And he says, "Teacher, I have a question for you." "Okay, what's your question?" He says, "Teacher, do you have a brain?" "Of course I do." "Teacher, have you ever seen your brain?" "No." "Have you ever smelled your brain?" "No, I haven't." "Have you ever touched your brain?" "No, I haven't." "Teacher, they lied to you. Your brain doesn't exist. You don't have a brain." Children are very smart, right? I guess, Jesus in today's gospel was teaching the people that there is a God. We have a beautiful story in today's gospel. We know little about Jesus' early life at home in Nazareth. We don't know much. Today we have this beautiful account. This is the only canonical story of Jesus' boyhood. They go to Jerusalem. Keep in mind that Jerusalem is far from Nazareth, about 80 miles. So that's why they had to walk, No transportation in those days in the way we have it today. It's a 3-day journey from Nazareth to Jerusalem. According to the law, they had to go to Jerusalem at least once a year for the feast of Passover, the Passover. But there were other religious celebrations, and it was required by the law to go to Jerusalem for the Feast of the Tabernacles, for the Feast of Pentecost. So I don't know if you are familiar with Lectio Divina, but when you do Lectio Divina, you sort of like read the Bible and then you reread it again slowly, and then you identify the phrases that speak to your heart. It's a beautiful and mindful way of reading the Bible, because we always read fast, right? So there are many beautiful lines here that strike me. As they were returning, the boy Jesus remained behind in Jerusalem. So for 3 days, Mary was looking for the boy. 3 days, with high anxiety, with high fear, with a profound sense of panic. And that's why Mary asks Jesus, "Where have you been? Why do you do this to us?" Remember the 7 sorrows of Mary, that are the events, and the loss of the child in the temple was one of the sorrows of Our Lady. The Virgin of Sorrows, Our Lady of Sorrows, according to our tradition. What were the other sorrows of Mary? The prophecy of Simeon, the flight into Egypt, the loss of the child when Mary meets Jesus at the Via Dolorosa, the crucifixion of Jesus, seeing Jesus under agony and pain. When Jesus actually dies, that was another sorrow. And then the last sorrow of Mary was what? The last sorrow of Mary was when they buried Jesus, the burial of Jesus. So Mary went through tough times. That's why we admire Mary, right? She was a tough woman. I think, I really admire the moms that go through difficult times, when a mother has to take care of her husband who is ill, when a mother loses a child. I think that's the greatest, the biggest, the most terrible loss in life. So Mary is to be admired, because she's under a lot of anxiety, under a lot of panic. But Jesus, where was Jesus? Jesus was in the temple. Jesus was not in another place having fun. He was in the temple. He was praying. I hope that when you lose your children, and when you don't find your children, they are praying at Our Lady of Fatima, not in another place, right? When you can't find your children. But see, the boy Jesus, he's about to become a teenager, because he's 12, he's not 13. For the Jewish people, turning 13 is a big event. It's a turning point. It's a big deal, because they are considered adults, able to make decisions. And they are highly respected by the community when they turn 13. And by the way, in the times of Jesus, when you are 13, you are supposed to memorize or have memorized the first 5 books of the Bible, the Torah. So there we have Jesus, who is 12 and seems to know everything already. And maybe the doctors of the law were saying, this is a genius. He has a high IQ, because he's asking questions, he's listening to us, and also he is, debating, he's teaching us. So Jesus knows the Torah, and he debates with scholars. Son, why have you done this to us? Why? And then the answer of Jesus, which seems to be like defiance, resistance, right? Opposition to authority. And we can ask Jesus, why do you say that to your mom? After all, you were the one who gave us the 10 commandments. Honor your father and your mother. And now you're saying to your mom, Mom, Why were you looking for me? This is none of your business. What are you looking for me? Or why were you looking for me? Or was he really revealing his divinity and who he was in a subtle way? There is a song that I like about Mary. I'm not going to sing it to you because a better job. But it goes more or less like, Mary, did you know that your baby boy will walk one day on waters? Mary, did you know that your baby boy will save our sons and daughters? And then, Mary, did you know that your baby boy will save our sons and daughters, and that your baby boy has come to make you new? Do you know that the son that you deliver will soon deliver you? Mary, did you know that your baby boy will give sight one day to a blind man? Did you know that your baby boy will calm and control a storm with his hand? Do you know, Mary, that your baby boy has walked where angels trod? Do you know, Mary, that when you kiss the little baby, you kiss the face of God? Do you know that? It's like Jesus asking his mom, Mom, don't you know who I am? The blind will see, Mom. The deaf will hear. The dead will live again. The lame will leap. The dumb will speak, Mom. Will speak the praises of the Lord. Did she know? Why have you done this to us, son? Why have you done this to us? The gospel writer concludes that they didn't understand what Jesus was saying. Neither Joseph nor Mary. I don't know. My approach is that Mary knew everything because she was the mother of Jesus. Because she knew. When the angel appears to Mary, he explains everything. And then the gospel writer says that Jesus advanced in wisdom. I think Jesus needed to be lost and to be confused a little bit, because after that, that confusion enhanced Jesus' sense of identity in his mission. When he comes out of the temple, he says, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to serve. I'm ready to fulfill my mission. But Mary continues to be a little bit confused, just as you mothers, fathers, sometimes, you are confused. And what was the confusion? Even though we say the Holy Family, the Sacred Family, Jesus' family, yes, but they went through the same challenges that you go through. Doubts about paternity, poverty, extreme poverty, being born in a manger, being persecuted by the king, the flight into Egypt, looking for a new job, struggles, fears, worries, doubts, maybe illnesses, losses, ups and downs, joys and sorrows. The Holy Family is just like our families. So when Mary understands, and when we go through difficult times, Jesus understands, and when we cry, Joseph understands, because they are just like us. What do you want to be when you grow up? Questions we ask children many times. So I always wonder, did Jesus ever answer this question to his fathers, to his parents? Boy, son, what would you like to be? What would you like to be when you grow up. Mom, Dad, you have no idea what I'm going to do with humanity. How can families grow together in love, harmony, and care for one another? The beautiful example is the Holy Family. They went through a lot, and yet they become the model family for all of us. I know that many of you struggled, and today is a beautiful day to pray for our families. Many of you have your moms. How many of you have your moms in heaven? Yeah. How many of you have your dads in heaven? Yeah. And I'm one of them. My mom and my dad they are in heaven. I believe that my mom is in a VIP section in heaven. And I'm going to tell you why, because she was the mother of a priest. When I made my first Holy Communion, and obviously I'm not saying that I come from the Holy Family, but I just come from a regular family, 10 siblings. It was a big family. And then my mom fostered two other children. And then I said, Mom, there are already too many kids in the family, and you bring 2 more? Are you planning to have a soccer team? 11? You need 11 for a soccer team. But I had a very good relationship with my mom. And I always would joke with my mom, just like Jesus. Maybe Jesus many times was having conversations with Mary. When they were in Cana at the wedding, remember? Son, they have no wine. So my mom was that way, because when I would go on vacation to my hometown, she would call immediately the pastor and said, my son is going to be here on vacation and he's available for masses. So there is a 5 a.m. mass in my town, in my hometown, in my church. And my mom will say to my pastor, and by the way, give my son the 5 o'clock mass in the morning. We are 2 hours behind, and let me finish with this story. When I got ordained, they do the besamanos, they kiss your hands, and then they tie your hands with a little piece of cloth, which is called the manutergio in Latin. And then you are supposed to keep the manutergio, the piece of cloth, because when your mom dies, she's supposed to go to heaven, and when they are waiting in the gates of heaven, and then St. Peter is, just checking all the names, and then everybody's lining, then your mom, who has the manutergio, is going to go like this. And then St. Peter will say, the mother of a priest, come please, a VIP section for you. But then my mom died one day, and where is the manutergio? So we all were looking for that. And no manutergio, so we lost it. And then my family was in a state of panic, because we are supposed to put it in the casket, inside the casket, right? This is a tradition. And then I said, okay, well, no manutergio, but I had a rosary that I brought from Rome one day. And then I said, I'm going to put the rosary inside the casket. So when my mom is at the gate, then she can just be doing this with the rosary. And then St. Peter can say, you are the mother of a priest because you pray the rosary every day. She used to pray the rosary every day for me and for my community. I think she's in a VIP section. That's why I said that. So may the Lord bless us, and may the Lord bless all your families. Amen.